And we'll do the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Hamill?
Here.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mr. Facto?
Yes, here.
Mr. Randall?
Yes.
Okay, all board members have been provided with a copy of the minutes of the last meeting. A motion will be entertained to approve and accept the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2023. If there are no deletions or corrections. Okay, so Sharon?
I'm sorry.
Barney?
Mr. Hamill?
Yes.
Mr. Parati?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Facto?
Yes.
Mr. Randall?
Yes. Address these. Mr. Garsow?
Wanted to come this evening and provide some updates. It's been a little while since you have all seen me. So, had some good news to report. Posted the 2022 ZBA minutes, received those in their completion in a corrected form, and was able to post all of those up in the previous months. Cleaned up some postings on the site with the help of Kevin. We went through, it was noted that it was becoming cluttery, and some of the things like, for instance, there was like no planning board meeting for June. I had it scheduled to keep that message up for all of June. Conceptually or ideally, it only needed to be up for the first week because the planning meeting would have happened that first week or whatever. So, little corrections like that we put into place. Posted the music in the parks flyer. That's all been updated. Took the old one down, posted the new one that Barb provided, and it's still waiting on some more. I believe 175th events, but been posting minor things as I get it. Everything has been up in a timely manner.
He did.
Approved last month. There was a SSL certificate, which is the Secure Site License Certificate. That was renewed with approval of Kevin May 26th. In June, it was informed to me that there was some systems here at the town that were having problems. Layer 8 was contacted. I worked with Layer 8 on that. I'm not sure what the current status of any of that is, but the end decision from Layer 8 was that they were going to move their email migration, and they had me contribute some of those things that they needed from my side. I put those in place immediately, responded back. I haven't heard, so I don't really know what the status of that is. We also communicated about the domain name, which was part of the old homestead subscription. That was approved months ago by Kevin to be moved to an account just for Schuyler Falls. That was done. Layer 8 wanted to actually take over the domain name into their account or into whatever they wanted to put it in. Unfortunately, that can't happen after a migration. That's not, or a transfer. That's not my rule. That's the organization that monitors all that. So I notified them of that, but that's not a problem. In the next few days, I'll be actually giving Kevin the information and a sign off, and Layer 8 actually can have full access to the Schuyler Falls account that we created just for that. So they can still transfer after 60 days if they want, but there's no need to do so. Other than that, one of the nice things, it's an issue, it was a problem, it's still being worked on, but one of the nice things is Reg reached out with a concern or an issue where he actually found that the SSL certificate was having a problem. And while the town has had issues before where they said, oh, it's coming up insecure and stuff, I've never been able to actually witness that because I can't log in. With the previous IT vendor, they wouldn't allow me any access, privileged access. What was nice about this situation is I could get in with Reg's permission and examine what the problem was. And in this case, what was determined, and it's in the vendor's hands of the SSL cert and the site software, is that Firefox, not Chrome or Edge, which is another version of Chrome, or any of the other browsers, but Firefox has a specific issue, and it tailors itself with security software. So specifically like McAfee or ESET. In my case, my company uses ESET. I don't have the issue because ESET passes this identity concern that Firefox has, where other security software like McAfee evidently has a concern, and the concern is simply that there's a certain amount of data points that it needs to validate for the certificate to be valid. There's different versions and brands, and it's all very technical, but the point being is that according to Firefox's standard, it's not thinking that there's enough points of validation. So we are still working on that. Thank you, Reg, for the opportunity to actually fully look into that situation and have access to be able to actually evaluate it, other than there's a problem. Because as I had noted, I went to all my resources like DigiCert. They have a thing where they validate your SSL cert, and we got all check boxes saying everything is good. So now on to the less comfortable aspects of what I'm here for tonight. I had asked Kevin for an opportunity to speak after watching the last meeting, the work session of this town board. So I was not impressed nor really appreciated anything that was said by certain individuals of the town board. I had a couple questions I would like to ask of certain town board members, just to get on record maybe an idea or concept of, evaluating their concerns a little bit more. By Ken Vern, can I ask, how many times do you check your email? Have you ever checked your Schuyler Falls email?
No.
No. Mr. Parati?
I don't bother because it doesn't work half the time.
And you know that how?
From everything I hear.
From what you hear, okay.
Listen, I'm not here to be questioned, and neither are any of us. You got a 5-minute period to speak, so have at it.
Okay, thank you. You don't have to answer them, I'm just asking. Sherm, do you ever check your email? Okay. How many times have the board, the ones I specifically mentioned, Parati, Sherm, and Vern, how many times have you guys reached out to me with any concerns, complaints, or problems outside this venue right here?
I personally never have myself, but we have through the board, through Kevin. And I'm sorry, Pat, the way I look at it is I am not happy with your services. I'm not going to pull any strings. I don't feel that things should have to go a year and a half to get things right when you're a professional company. That's where I'm at. That's how I feel. I have nothing personally against you. I don't like how your company has handled the situation here at the town.
I do.
That's where I'm at.
I appreciate that. I will address that specifically. What I appreciate that the town and the board has allowed me to do over this time is, back in January when the original concerns came up, there was the point that, I wasn't updating the site and wasn't doing a lot of great things with the site. There was no content, it wasn't being updated, and so on and so forth. The board had given me an opportunity to prove myself, and over the following months, through many hours of work and following up with individuals, I obviously was able to capture that data. But the good news is is that I hope that the public can actually see that the problem really isn't Northeastern Computer or myself personally, but the problem is actually with the town itself getting the content. And the reason I know that, and I appreciate all the information that you got, Kevin, you're very busy. This is not a fault, but through your busyness, it took Kevin over 3 months to actually get me his updates that he wanted for the site. That's just a fact. To date, I still cannot get from Donna the actual 2023 meeting minutes, and Kevin has sent at least a half dozen requests, and myself. Now that has actually costed the town money because I've actually come down here with Kevin and actually did that. So what's been proven is that I will put in the effort and time, and I have. And I know that's very uncomfortable to hear. But the point being is, if people don't want something to succeed, the contribution is that they're not going to succeed.
Can I answer one of your things?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, and you might not want to hear this.
Go for it.
You came in last year and downloaded all my minutes that I had on my computer. Kevin was in my office with you and me. I was on my way out the door, and you put in, it has yet to be on the website, over a year.
Actually, they've all been there for 2022.
Well, they're not there right now. Or they haven't been.
They have been for months, and it was actually validated by Kevin himself about 4 months ago, in March. And the point being is, I didn't talk about 2022. I'm actually talking about 2023, January, February.
Because the website hasn't been up and running. I can't get
What?
on that website.
Okay, there's training that needs to be done,
To get
but
on the
I can't
website?
get you to email me. To get to the website, anyone can go to the website right now. Again, this is a perfect example. If you want to find a problem, you're going to find the problem. So you're making excuse and finding problem. The site has been up. There's other people on this board that have went to this site. Kevin talks to me all the time about the site. Barb has been on the site. The code enforcement officer's been on the site. Sam has been on the site. He asked me to pull some stuff up and down. So the point being is, the site's been up, and I'm supposed to do training, but you guys are talking about leaving the service, so that's perfectly fine. I don't think you probably want training at this point. I mean, that's just a cost that doesn't seem necessary. So what I basically came to just to clear up, to understand, because there was also an individual, Mike MD from the town, that contributed some idea that I would be able to stay on and work with a new company and stuff like this. I will do exactly what my contract, which I don't actually have a yearly contract signed, but I will still abide, because my company always does, by exactly what my contract says. I will continue to support this town. The site will continue to be maintained by my company until you guys find someone else, which you've stated you're looking for. But I will say, upon being notified that I'm no longer part of it, I will give all the data. That's the database tables and all of the files that are underneath the public directory over to them. But I'm not going to work for this other company to help build out a new site for another organization. It's awkward that that was brought up. If I would do that, I won't do that. But I will give you guys everything that is yours, and I will make sure it's in a very universal form, and I'll support you till then. But I was very disappointed that individuals who don't even access the resources are taking people's words for it, not even knowing the underlying concerns or problems. And yes, you can't know everything, but it is the town council's responsibility to then go and do research and get a beginning understanding of what's going on. And that should start with at least a conversation. And I've had none of that.
You know, I'm the one that brought you here in the first
Yes.
place. And I think we've all been patient for the last year and a half or wherever it is. And I've just seen where things haven't worked out.
I agree.
So at that point, I think it's time, instead of spinning our wheels, to move on, which is what we're doing. And I appreciate what you've done. That's all
I agree.
to say.
And like I said, I will support you guys to the end. And, so I agree though. It's obvious that
It's not gelling.
Exactly. So. Thank you, that's all I had.
Pat, I just have a question, like, if, when I went on right now, it's still showing that issue exists on our website. And it's on my phone, it's not just, can't be just the Firefox down here, because this is my phone, okay? So that's an issue on the website itself, and that's been going on for a couple weeks now. I do apologize, because I did say 2 weeks last time we were here for the work session, and it was going into the second week, because it had been since the previous Tuesday. So it wasn't a full 2 weeks. As far as the training, you know, that would, I think, solved a lot of issues. I guess, you know, so that I wasn't in the middle of it and trying to juggle your schedule with their schedule, I asked that you reach out to them. I know that Sammy has reached out to you a couple different times, and I don't know what happened there, where you just didn't hook up or whatever. And I know our codes enforcement officer also wanted the training so that he could get on there, because there's a bunch of stuff that he needs to put on there. One of the things that I talked to Donna about, you're right, I've talked to her several times over the last couple of months, but Donna was under the impression that we were going to get the training so that we wouldn't have to pay you 15-minute blocks, as long as that took, if she had the access to put the minutes on and that stuff on her own. Naturally, we wouldn't be paying you like 15-minute blocks or whatever, you know, how long that took. Last time I was able to go on there, you did get my message up, but I didn't see any of the updates on the projects that I had sent you.
There's a whole new page under.
I know you said you were working on that. I can't
Yep.
get on this thing, but that had all the updates of all the major.
So what's weird is, and again, this is good information to have. I'm not sure. Do you have Android or is it Apple?
That's Apple.
Okay, so Apple, that must be Safari browser. So maybe there's an issue with Safari. I'm actually on the site, and there's a little lock and secure, and I'm here right now, right? So there's something going on, but obviously.
And because
all
you're
my
the
tools.
administrator, that wouldn't make a difference on one of us
Not on this phone, no.
Okay.
No, not at all.
I'm just asking because I
no.
don't know everything about that.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I just want to.
But what I can tell you is all of your projects, and I believe I sent you a notification of when they were up, but they're underneath resources, and there's a page called Capital Projects. And all of them are there, from the Morrisonville Water District Improvement to the Macy Lane, Rickson Avenue, Recreation Splash Pad, and Highway Garage Floor and Water Containment System.
Okay, and that's under capital projects, you said?
Yes, resources. So that's where resources is where JCEO, the CBD grant, careers, and media are. There's also a capital projects page down. And that's where all of those updates were. And that's, I believe, per your request, because we didn't want to just put them on the supervisor page, because it's a...
Right, I didn't want them on the supervisor page, and I didn't want to fill up that first page with overwhelming information.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
duplicated.
the other question I had, I never get any feedback. I heard through rumor that should the motor MVE job opportunity, or MEO, I guess, should that be pulled? Was that filled?
You can take that one down because it got filled about 2 weeks ago, or 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, there was no
4 weeks ago.
no word to pull that, and it was just on there.
Yeah,
so-
no, you can take that one down because all those jobs have been filled now,
Okay.
up at the highway garage.
Now, Patrick, in terms of the minutes of 22 and 23, and I tried to access them and couldn't, obviously.
So the
Can we get to 22 back up?
the public, underneath public records right now,
Yeah.
like I am, you can see that there's the regular meeting agendas.
Yeah.
That's all for 2022, and from October of 2022 to tonight. Regular meeting minutes for February of 2022 through December 27th. So those are the regular meeting minutes for last year that was requested. The only thing I have from the planning board that was ever given to me was a planning board agenda for April 4th of 2023. I have no meeting minutes for any of those. I have a zoning board of appeals meeting agendas for this year, but no minutes. But up there is the full list of 2022 meeting minutes for ZBA after being corrected that I received in May at the end of May.
Thanks.
Can I just say one thing?
Yes.
You asked Vern if he's checked his emails. I probably get 40 to 50 emails a day. I get them from Pro School, Employer, Off-Track Betting, Airborne, Town of Schuyler Falls. I don't, and maybe it's because I'm just old and I'm not capable, but I've never gotten any notification anyway of, other than, I guess if I went on. I don't even know what my email address is. I get calls from people, I get texts from people.
Yeah, that
Never got
actually
email.
had to be set up on your phone.
Never was set up on my phone. Can't get it. I don't think it was set up.
I thought you had nothing more to do with emails.
I first off, setting up any of that, even on the computers here, I did it once.
Yeah.
This is back August of last year. But other than that, we had issues because some of those never even worked. I didn't have privileged access. That's your IT company. You need to have admin access for certain things that were going on, the way it was configured, stuff like this. I've never had that. I tried to set it up to the best of my ability on all the systems that I could. Believe it or not, the older systems worked better. I set it up on phones for the people who were here that had their phone that wanted me to set them up. I think I set it up for you, Reg. I set it up for you, Kevin, when we took pictures. But that's an IT responsibility, and I was told stay back. And also, part of the new contract, to my understanding with Layer 8, I was told that emails like that's them. It's going to Microsoft or something like this.
Well, I just think it's an unfair question because you're asking Vern if he ever checked his emails. I never checked mine. I can't get them. I mean, where else am I going to get them? Mike, you ever get any?
So actually, besides for Mike, who was gone during the winter time when I actually handed it out, everyone was given a piece of paper that actually was like a letter that had your login credentials and all of the server information. It was handed out actually at the board meeting. I don't know whatever happened to that.
Yeah.
Mine
was working until that last issue with Layer 8, and it quit working. Now, I can't really blame you for an email. You've got nothing more to do with it.
Well, you still
Does
is,
he?
they're going to be taking it over.
Yeah.
That's what they were in
Oh,
the
they
process
haven't taken it over
of
yet.
working on. Pat had worked, I think 2 or 3 days with them to try to get the information they needed, and the domain was part of it. Because I was getting told from them that you didn't want to give the domain. Once I talked to you, you said you had no problem doing that. You just wanted us to sign a form, a waiver of liability that you no longer were in charge of it and had the domain. And there was one other thing.
very specifically to what you just said, I can provide the board with the email that I had with Brian, but it was never that I was unwilling. It was that I was uncertain if that was going to be transferred, because that's the website. It's not used internal to here. It was just for the website. But that's also at the same email that I had stated that it doesn't really matter because the town owns the account now. It was moved from Rick Potterker's account and we put it into your own. So I said, once that transfer is done, have at it. So it never was an unwillingness. I just want to make that clear.
No, I got several texts and emails back and forth from us saying that you were willing to do that as long as you relieved of liability before it
Right.
happened. Oh, the other thing is you said you wanted something in there, you wanted your passwords removed so that you couldn't have access
Be
after you did
accused.
that.
That's
And that
correct.
would protect you in case they said, okay, you went
Yeah.
in because you had admin privileges and a password.
Yeah.
So I knew it'd come to me, but those are two things.
That is
But,
correct.
yeah, they've been,
They had me plug in some, I believe it's account validation or verification from Microsoft. So the process has started. I don't know what.
yeah, you were supposed to send me the domain and the domain information with a the user word. And then I asked you to send me the password separately in a text so that all that information wasn't in one electronic email.
First off, I understood what they were saying there, and the password will be brought to you in text, separate.
Or you can
But it was going to be in
get
paper. That's exactly right. It was going to be the paper.
Just so that they didn't have the full, somebody hacked it. They didn't get the full keys to the kingdom.
Exactly. Right there. It's all.
So, I mean,
all out
I've
in the
been
open.
waiting on that too, and I know they've been waiting on that so that they can do whatever they gotta do.
And then if I can, just to finally address your last concern there, Term, which was, again, I will only state, like, you obviously became aware that you had an email address. It's also posted on the website. If there was any concern or you needed it hooked up to your phone, even if it wasn't me that was going to do it, you could have reached out, right, and asked the question.
I didn't know that, to tell you the truth. I'm seriously. I mean, I just assumed that.
So then is it
Then
fair to
I-
say that you don't visit the website then? Because it has been posted
I-
since January.
You know what? The last time I looked at the website, it said unsecured website, and I said, well, guess I'm not gonna go on this again. And I never went back. I'm just being truthful.
Mine, like I said, mine, I just showed you, mine does the
Yeah.
same thing, and so does my computer down here. If it works on Android, what do you got for a phone? The
iPhone.
iPhone too? Anybody got an Android?
I do.
Does yours
Does it
come up
work
on
in
yours?
yours?
So it's something with the iPhone and stuff. Yeah. All right. And like I said, I don't understand all the computer lingo stuff, so I just looked at that and said, it's not coming up.
Yep, and again, I use the validation tools that I have. They gave thumbs up. I have screenshots of those. And also, like I said, my systems work fine. We test with the latest versions of like Edge and Chrome. Some companies go as far as to state like your best, put on the website, best user experience if viewed in Chrome or Edge. There's not usually a need to do that. This is kind of a weird situation though, because you do get that warning, which kind of is a halter to say, hey, what's going on? It's very weird. I have not experienced a specific issue before, so I have reached out to the vendor. Now that I actually have data, was able to take screenshots, was able to validate, someone reached out, I've sent that on. They are looking into it and working on it, so. And that started just 2 days ago.
A less important question. The Facebook page that you set up under Town of Schuyler Falls, that's operational. Who is the administrator of that?
Well, you actually bring up a very good point. Right now, so if I presented this back to the board a while back, the old website or the old Facebook page, Rick Potiker was the sole administrator of. His account got hacked and we lost access. Could the town work to get access back? Yes, that's a lengthy process. Probably costly with lawyers getting involved to send certified letters or whatever. What we chose to do is create a new one. At this time, our company is the only one. I actually, this was a while back and it was only verbal, no written communication. Had talked to you briefly about like needing to get more people on there. We maybe talked about adding your personal Facebook account. What it is the way Facebook works is you take your personal Facebook account, like it's your identity. It's kind of like your username. And that gets attached to a business page. So like the Schuyler Falls page. The only problem is it's got to be accepted, and it's got to be accepted in a certain amount of time. So there should be more than just my company on there. So Kevin, I think that would obviously should be at least you, but I was thinking this was off of just how some stuff goes. Maybe Barb would be a backup, or someone on the town board. Like there should be multiple. Best practice is at least 3 people, but I don't have 3 people to assign it to.
All right, but right now you're like the administrator of
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then we make posts there as well of all the
And
content.
you got no problem giving us that, so we
No,
can
not at
figure
all.
out what the
Not at all.
heck to do with that.
Yeah.
And I noticed that the town meetings that are being recorded on this, all of a sudden, don't appear on our Facebook page. There's
Yes.
many people that, not to be critical of you, Mr. Donut, but there's a lot of people who rely on this to watch an official site right here that the town board is responsible for. So, are you involved in that at all?
100%. And I can take full blame on that because it seems to be a touchy subject on cost, but it requires me to log into that system right there. It's also in flux because of the transfer of IT companies, but with the way normal process is, whether I'm here physically, sometimes I've been here physically and done it. So I'd rather have to come down, or I would remote in remotely with permission. And so that hasn't been done as of recently.
Yeah, the way that we set it up is after the meeting, I plug it in my office, I leave it up and open so he can go in on it. So I've been doing that right along. So maybe it was an oversight, on your end that you weren't pulling it off anymore.
I think it
I
has more to do with
assume-
cost, that's all.
I assumed you were still doing that, so.
I just know that there was questions about the amount of time spent.
Well, I never hit you with cost unless you
On that
put
one?
it through there, yeah.
Okay.
No, because that's
So
what you told
I'll
me,
after
because the
this
first
meeting,
time I
I'll
closed
do
the book and you were like, no, I can't do it, once you close it, it shuts it down, so.
That is correct. Sometimes I
I
haven't been
leave it
able to
open
get-
and
yeah.
plug it in, and that way you said we could remote in and
So long as cost of pulling that is not a factor, I can do that after this meeting tonight when he plugs it in. I can get those.
Oh, great.
How much does that cost?
Whatever time it takes for YouTube to upload, I create a custom page front. It usually takes, depending on how long these meetings last, between 15 minutes and 30 minutes to do for each meeting. I think there's 3 meetings that need to be posted.
Richard, I looked at the meeting the other day, on YouTube that was posted, or that you took, because it said Richard Donut. It was posted by, was it Rick Hazen maybe?
Yeah, the work
Rick
session on
Hazen.
Facebook.
Work session and a meeting.
Did he share it or something, or?
I don't know, it came up.
Oh, I know what it is. See, there's, as you know, Dick, there's 2 sites.
Yeah.
One of them is called, you had named it, SF Times. The SF Times is public. So when he ends up posting a meeting on SF Times, it can be shared. Anyone can share it. So I think that's what you mean.
It could be, I mean, the whole,
It's a public site.
The difference
So-
is you can definitely tell the 2 videos apart because this
Yeah.
has a 360 view. It's
Yeah,
180 up top and a split view of 180 below. Where with his camera, he's pointed it towards us. There's a smaller viewing angle, and then he directs it. So you can easily decipher which ones are the town sponsored ones versus which ones are not.
They didn't need, in any case, it's getting out there. That's what we want to do. It's getting out there.
all right.
So once again, there was concern of cost. Is there a concern of cost? He just brought up a concern of
Well,
cost.
there's always a
Can I?
concern of some cost.
So how much is it? You told us how long it would take. What's the cost?
The contract was $100 an hour, and if it takes, how long it specifically takes me, there's no guarantee. How long? Can you tell me how long you're going to talk here tonight? It's around 15 to 30 minutes per video. You're talking. There's 3 videos that we're behind on, so an hour and a half maybe. If you're saying, am I going to give you an actual number here? No, because I can't.
Ballpark, that's all.
Well, but like you're saying, so our last work session was 2.5 hours, I think.
It's a pretty lengthy one, yes.
So you're talking $250. I don't
No,
know.
No, it doesn't.
Not how long the video is. It takes about 50. It depends on how fast
Yeah.
and the internet connection can upload it to YouTube. So it's only a fraction of like 15 minutes to 30 minutes to get it uploaded and get everything attached to it. So no, it's not the length of the meeting. It's,
Oh, okay.
But the length of the meeting determines how big the file is, which determines how long it takes to push it up.
Okay.
So
Why isn't it something that we could do from here to get it on the site? Just like our minutes, remember we talked about that? And it was gonna cost?
Yeah, we don't have any admin credentials.
well, the good news is YouTube. Again, if you have an account with YouTube, I can give you permission and you guys can post it yourself. And that actually has nothing to do with the website whatsoever. So
Right.
if you want to post, go for that. I mean, that's using YouTube, just like Facebook. If anyone wants to do the posting of the meeting minutes that I put on Facebook or on the website until you get the training and credentials, if that's so which you want, gladly take the copy, the PDF agenda, and put it over on Facebook. I can give anybody that wants to give me their Facebook credential, well, that wants to be accepted to the Schuyler Falls page. I can give you access and you can be posting your own material.
So you set that up for the town.
That's correct. And YouTube as well.
Right. So is there, as long as you're saying you give us the
So the way it
information.
works is, again, you have a personal account. So you sign up for a YouTube account.
Yeah.
Sure, you can sign up for a YouTube account. And then my personal account, which I don't ever need to give you credentials for, I'm the one that set up the Schuyler Falls page, so then I send you an invite to join that as an administrator. I give Sherm or Reg or Mike or Vern, Donna, the access from your personal account to that page. And then as an administrator, you have the right to remove people, you have a right to add new people. You can remove videos, add videos. But there's no like single credential that I give you guys to get access. Nor is there that way for Facebook. It's you take your personal account, I invite you, and then you never have to share any credentials. It's much more secure. And that's how they do it today. And we'll gladly do that.
So if I contact you, put a couple of us on.
Yes.
Admin.
Could I go on?
No,
I'm experienced.
I don't care who it is.
Okay.
Did you have a website before? Just asking.
You know I had a website before. No, he took it over.
The qualifications are high there. So, hate to be a stickler, am I to post the videos and spend the money, or am I just going to show somebody? What do we want to do? Because this is also a point of contention on how fast material gets up. Is if I have to ask for permission or approval every time, there's obviously a delay. So,
But you didn't have to before. It was our
okay.
verbal that you were just doing. That's why I continue to leave it open on my little round table back there every time we have a meeting. So,
Okay.
is there anybody that doesn't want to post it? Okay. So go ahead and catch us up.
Perfect.
As far as I knew, I thought there was something going on with it.
Now getting back to the email thing. Quick question for you. Who is doing the email now? Because I was in Vermont Hospital in intensive care for the 3 weeks when you did the training. I've not even been set up. Don't have a clue who to set up. They're saying you're not doing it anymore. They're saying somebody else is doing. Who's can do it? Do you have any answer?
I don't know. I don't know what the current status is. I have submitted per layer 8's request specific information that says that's transferring. If it hasn't yet, then I guess it would still be me. But I don't know. I can add you. I can give you instructions, and if it doesn't work, that's going to tell you that it's not on my server anymore, because that means it would be validating with someone else's.
But
So,
again, until they get that admin information that we had discussed about a week ago or so. That was what I understood Larry was saying.
Yeah, that should not be needed though for the actual transfer agreement. That's just to have possession of it, the domain.
So
I
you're
actually
saying
added
they copy the emails and They don't
They
need
haven't
the
worked out, they haven't told me anything about what their plans are. I have no idea. Again, I can't speak to
no,
someone
I
else.
just know you were working with them for 2 or 3 days. Like
Yeah,
you
what
said.
I did was, they first approached me about the SSL cert. I assisted by re-pushing that out, and it semi-worked, but they still were seeing something that they didn't want to see. So I said I'd push it out again. Upon pushing it out again, I created another issue, and that took another day, full day to resolve. So that's when I notified you that attempting to push this certificate out multiple times, forcing it out multiple times, was just not working. So that's all I did with them was certificate, and they gave me a validation code to plug in so that Microsoft could validate that Schuyler Falls truly wanted to go to Microsoft accounts. So,
But I'm still having that issue, and I think when you get that message and you
Yeah,
have
it's
to
the
push
same one I
yes
just
that you're
showed
gonna
you.
go on to unsecure whatever it is.
I was told by, and that's the first I'm hearing of it, I asked Layer 8, Layer 8 had said, all the emails are working, they're gonna transfer it off. That's what they said.
Hey, whose name is that certificate in? Yours or Layer 8?
No, it's Town of Schuyler Falls.
Town. Okay.
It's owned by us.
Right. The only thing that has my name on it is the technical contact.
And the information to go on there. So,
Yeah.
Would,
But no, it's actually, the person is Kevin, because he's the super. But yeah, it says the company is Schuyler Falls. So Vern, if you would like, you can reach out to me, we can schedule that, we can get it set up on your phone. Gladly would do that. Phones I don't really have a problem with. I guess the question would be, is that overstepping? I don't know. I know I can't work on any of the town systems because of the security. It requires enhanced security, and I've never been able to get that. So you get weird issues like certain folders aren't created, like delete box and stuff, or sent or junk mail. So it doesn't work well. So that should be, any town-owned system should be done by the IT company. But I can assist easily with any other, with phones or with personal systems.
So as far as domain information that's needed, you can take care of that tomorrow, so I can.
Yep.
Then it'll be on Larry. Then I can hold them under the thumb. They're telling me they need that stuff to put on. So that's something you can take care of.
I'd just like to say thanks for cooperating with Larry.
Yeah.
That was super helpful. For sure.
Yeah, I think.
They've been very easy and very good to work with. So. Okay.
Yeah, that was one of our first conversations once they got jumped on board. I appreciate everything you did with them. But yeah.
I think Howard had a question.
Howard, go ahead.
Where are we as department heads as far as still getting training for the website? Are we on hold or are we still going forward with that?
Well, being that he's in the middle of a transfer, I don't know. Is that something you need? If it's something you need immediately, and you can work something out with Pat to get what you need to get on there, I don't have a problem. I'm the only one on the board, but I don't have a problem with what, a half hour probably, 20 minutes maybe. Depending on how fast he picks it up. I get you.
And what
I'm
we're
not.
training.
I'm not trying to nail you down to. I'm just in general. You know what I'm saying?
I
That's
can't
what we
commit
had
to
talked
any-
about in previous conversations. Is probably a half hour of worth of training to get somebody up to speed on using their part for the website. And I know you've always had a concern about how much privilege to give them so that they don't do something somewhere else that may take you 3 hours to fix, so.
Right, yeah, that was, yeah,
So it was.
counterproductive there. Yeah.
Right, so, you know, but to get him so that he can use it and put some information on there, some of his forms and some of that stuff. I don't have a problem with it. Does anybody on the board have a problem? I didn't think it was.
Before we go that far, let me ask this question. If we take training now with Pat, will that go forward after the transition? That the training would be the same for the website after the
It
transition?
depends on, the carrier and what they set up for a website. So I can't answer that because I have no idea whether, you know, theirs would be the same as what Pat's is right now.
You would have to have the definite details in order for that to be.
Because everything, the way I understand yours is all programmed, more like a programmer one. Just, I'm going months back now when we were looking at everybody and you ended up staying on. That was one of the
I do love the details that you
was-
come up, you remember, great. Yeah, let me just summarize real quick. A lot of websites, including like North Shore, which you guys were looking at before, they use a WordPress template. WordPress is basically an underlying site that can be customized, and this site is not that. This site is very specific to government organizations
Right.
and their needs.
And
So
it's more on the programmer side of things. You have to understand it to do it, where the other is more like a, for lack of a better term, because I'm not an engineer in this stuff, but more like a Windows program. You click and,
template, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
click and play. So it's easier.
And everyone's
Easier
really
for the
good.
lay guy or girl to use than somebody that knows DOS.
There you go. Yeah, it's very specific to the vendor, so.
Well, does anybody have anything else?
No.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate everything you did so far.
Thank you for your time.
And we'll be in touch with you.
Already?
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Alright, so that was our addressee. After the last work session, we did decide to, because of the ask of the residents to do public forum at the beginning. So that's next. If anybody for public forum has anything they'd like to ask. Again, I highly advise if you're gonna ask the board questions that you have a written response down so you can hand it to us so that we can get the information or questions to your information. Information to your questions.
Or we can have a resolution to enact that.
Yeah, they don't have to, because I looked through it and there is no, other than our agenda, there is no time in here that says that we have to do anything in a particular order. All that states in there is that we do allow for public forum. And that was the resolution that passed.
Right.
So like I said,
So is it open for discussion right now?
what's open for discussion?
This change?
Yeah, all we did was change the agenda, and the agenda was posted
Right.
on the website.
But then I had made a statement that at the work session, it was my request that any resident, they might attend a meeting and gain information, and at the end of the meeting, they might want to address the board about things they've learned during the meeting. So I was hoping that the audience would be open to address the board at the beginning and at the end. Or one or the other. If they want to address the board at the beginning of the meeting, they might prefer to address the board at the end of the meeting.
There's an option for that in the guidelines, right?
Yeah, it's I.
So
H
that's
and
what I meant
is
by
what you're
that.
talking about. Yeah, H and I are still in there. The second addressee, if it's from the same person, just has a vote from the
A
board.
vote from, perfect. Okay.
Okay,
All right. Good.
so we didn't have to change anything. That's why we didn't have to do a new resolution,
Okay.
because when we did the rules, we had never put in there specifically when they apply.
Okay.
So we
That's
can
fine.
change the order. And we'll see how it goes. So again, is there anybody for public forum?
Well, I'd like the suggestion that Howard made last time at the work session, that if you're unable to stay for the whole meeting, that you put a sign-up sheet up there and allow them to speak and keep the public forum at the end.
Yep, there is a sign-up sheet up there. Did you sign that to speak tonight for the
No.
backside? No.
No,
So that's what that's there for. That gives us an attendance, and if you want to speak, that's why I looked at it before I went out, and I didn't see anything written on there, but other than your names. But yeah, if you got something specific that you want to address, I had covered that last meeting also, saying that at least if I don't know who you are, at least I can call you by name rather than say, hey, you, or whatever, you know, so.
So, if I could, so Richard, you're basically saying the way it's always been, and I think that was done by resolution, was that addressees, like Pat,
Right.
as long as you sign up or sign a paper and say you want to address the board, you can come in before we all sit here for the whole meeting and you have a specific thing to address the board, you address the board, and then if you want to leave, that's fine. I know back 100 years ago when I was on the board, what the problem was is that people preferred to be able to talk in the beginning. That's why we had said, well, if you have something specific you want to talk about, absolutely. And that way you don't have to sit through the whole meeting, because some people don't want to go through this in the beginning.
Till 9 o'clock at night.
Right, because they want to come in and hear the meeting, but they don't want to hear all the public forum. So after the meeting, and then it goes to public forum, if they don't have anything to address the board with, they can get up and leave. They're not going to miss any part of the meeting.
right.
So it's always been that anyone can address the board. Just write it down, and that way too, like Kevin was saying, we can know ahead of time that Richard Dona's going to ask such and such. If we want to, the sooner we know about it, the more we can research and have an answer for you. Instead of, like right off the cuff, and then you say, I don't know the answer. Kevin's done this before. If he doesn't know the answer, he's not going to give you the wrong answer, and you won't get the answer until the next meeting anyway. So,
I guess we're back to the beginning here. Was it your misunderstanding of how we did stuff? Why we were asking to do it prior? Because we've always allowed that as an addressee. The only thing we ever asked as an addressee is that you give us your name and some kind of subject. We've never held anybody to the subject matter, but again, a name so we can say, hey, I do have, several addressees, or one addressee, or 3 addressees, and then they talk just like Mr. Garsow did. If you look at the agenda tonight, that's what he asked. That's why he's under addressee.
No, I didn't know that you could sign up prior to the meeting to
You don't
speak.
even have to sign up the way it was. All you had to do is let one of us know. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah,
Let the town clerk know, because she does the agenda. So if you let Donna know, she has the information ahead of time to